So look at you, not at the camera, right?
We're back. It's SFA News Live. This is the third day of probably the most exciting food show that exists in this country. There's over 1,600 different exhibitors. There's, I don't know, somewhere around 20,000 people. You can actually feel the energy. This is now a movement. This is a food movement that we're seeing, because if you take a look at who the exhibitors are, it's all about sustainability. Obviously, great taste, great innovation. We're seeing more younger exhibitors, more younger entrepreneurs than ever before, and last night was the front burner competition. Now, I've got to just show you one picture that I love. SFA's president, Phil Kafarakis, actually dressed up as a Greek chef. I don't know if you can see the picture here. It was absolutely fabulous. He talked about his days washing dishes as a kid in a Greek diner, and he did a phenomenal job. And all the contestants were absolutely terrific. Also this morning, there was a very strong panel about food disruption and what's going on there. We're going to have Shannon Allen, who started this wonderful restaurant called Grown. It's actually an all-organic restaurant, and actually they're in Walmarts. So we're going to talk to her. We're going to talk to Pradeep from Farmstead. We're going to talk to everybody who was on the panel this morning. But first, Ron Tanner is back with us from Specialty Food Association, talking about a very serious issue, which is food recovery and food hunger. And, you know, when this show's over at the end of today, Ron, there's, tons and tons of food. What happens to it?
Well, the food goes to people that need it. We've been working with different organizations over the years to recover the food from the fancy food shows. The San Francisco show, it's a little bit smaller than our New York show, but we're estimating around 54,000 pounds of food are going to go out of here. And it gets out of here and gets collected in about 4 hours after the show closes.
I know, I remember seeing it in New York. I mean, they just come in and they take it. And when we talk about this food, we're not talking about food that was out there, where people were getting samples. These are all packaged foods. These are foods that, really are going to feed a lot of very hungry people.
They are. I mean, there's safety rules with the food. So
of course,
you can only pick up food that is unopened, packages that are unopened, and even with cheese, you can only take a full wheel of cheese. You can't take like a chunk of cheese.
Okay.
But it's exciting because people who don't get this quality food, they know that this food is coming, They get excited about having it. In New York, in particular, our show is right before the 4th of July, and we work with City Harvest in New York. In New York, it's 104,000 pounds of food that's recovered, and the people of New York City know that for their 4th of July weekend, they're going to have some, really nice mustards and maybe some good sausages and some cheeses and things like that.
And we're also talking about a population that are not normally purchasing or even have these foods available to them, so it's really exploding their taste buds in a whole different arena. And I think it's so important for a Specialty Food Association to take this kind of stance, really to think holistically. As I mentioned, what we're seeing here is a whole different type of energy and a whole different type of exhibitor than perhaps were here when you and I first started to come to the show. I mean, these are people who care about the world, care about the planet, care about humanity, care about feeding people. I was just speaking to someone yesterday who's introducing a new breakfast cereal. And what they're doing is similar to Tom's with shoes. For every box of cereal that someone buys, they're donating a box to people who are going hungry.
Well, for our leadership awards, which we gave out on Sunday night, there's a company that does a lot of work in Haiti. The owner of the company was in Haiti. He saw that the people in Haiti were eating mud cookies. Mud cookies are mud that they would bake, and they would do it to make themselves feel not hungry. So he, got, inspired by this. And so for every package of his superfoods that he sells, he donates a meal to a child in Haiti. So there's so many people doing good in the specialty food industry, and they particularly like to do good at the show.
Absolutely.
It's a great opportunity for them to get their products out to people that are in need, and also business-wise, it's good for them because they can donate their products, and rather than spending money to ship their product back, they're allowed to take that donation as a tax credit.
So it really helps everybody.
It helps everybody. It helps everybody, and that's why we encourage the companies to do it.
Yes.
You know, there's no reason not to do it. It benefits
Absolutely.
everybody.
And just shipping back food, to your place, it could get damaged, spoiled, whatever. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. Let's talk for a minute about those leadership awards. You mentioned one of them, but that was very inspiring. We had Walter Robb kicking it off. He really gave some meaningful leadership lessons and energy to that whole group. What he's doing now with Food Maven, actually being able to recover food waste and selling it to restaurants at a significant discount, 50% discount, and then the farmer gets 25% of what normally would be just thrown away. So this is definitely a movement that we're seeing as it relates to feeding people, as it relates to protecting the planet.
Oh, definitely. I mean, the statistics show that 40% of food in the United States is wasted. And, any way that we can help with that, we want to be able to do that. A lot of that waste is from consumers, and there's a need to educate consumers. I know I'm one of them. When I go to the store.
Not good, Ron.
But when I go to the store, I always say, okay, I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to buy the salad and I'm going to buy this hummus. And, I'll come home after a hard day of work and I'll say, okay, maybe I'll have some sausage and some potato chips.
Right.
And what happens is I end up throwing out the salad and hummus. Or actually in New York City, New York City is going to be a zero waste city in the next 5 years. So you can actually in New York now recycle that. It goes in your food waste container. But consumers need to know, how to manage things better. And I think one of the presentations that I was seeing was just saying, in a way, we have made food so cheap in the United States, and a lot of the grocers and others are showing that it's cheap, that people don't care about it, and almost
they don't really have the value of it.
They don't have the value of it, and almost in a way with specialty food, they get that value because you're much more likely to throw out cheese that you bought for $2 a pound than cheese you bought for $30 a pound.
Correct.
So in an odd way, I think specialty food is helping with that.
Yeah. And also, if we look at this global movement of what's taking place, France was really the first country to ban supermarket waste. So a supermarket cannot throw out food. They've got to donate it. They've got to resell it to restaurants before it goes bad and so on. And when we look at these kind of movements around the world, there's a fabulous restaurant in Berlin that's actually only open 3 days a week to be a restaurant. The other 4 days a week, they hold classes for consumers to be able to understand how to avoid food waste. So, what you're doing here, what you started here for a number of years is really growing in leaps and bounds. And I think that from a consumer level to a retailer level to a brand level, if everybody is concerned about food waste, we can hopefully get to zero food waste.
Oh, we can make a real difference, which is important. And as you see, walking the streets of San Francisco, I mean, there are a lot of very needy people here. And the city of San Francisco and the 501c3s that operate here really try to make a difference. But it's so good to be, to know that they're going to be having something that's nice.
Absolutely.
And that they're going to be enjoying all this great food that's coming out of the fancy food show.
So who do you work with here in San Francisco to be able to make sure that product does get to the right hands?
Well, we have a new partner this year.
Okay.
So it's a little complicated the way it works, but the organizations, our members, donate the food to the Specialty Food Foundation. The association has a foundation. The foundation focuses on food
and that's
waste.
how they get the tax deduction.
And that's how they get the tax deduction. So the Specialty Food Foundation does letters to everybody that donates, saying what they donated, how many pounds it was, how much it's worth. Actually, these letters are a challenge because we're such an international organization. We may get 2 cases of food and they'll say it's worth, 80 euros.
Yes.
Or we'll get things which are in milliliters,
Right.
and we have to calculate all these different things. But we do receipt everybody that donates to us and gives us the information, and then they can utilize that on their taxes, and that works very well. But it's more complicated, so it's given Specialty Food Foundation. We're working with a new group here called the Food Recovery Network. They're a great organization. They actually started at the University of Maryland probably about 6 years ago, and it was a group of students that said, oh, you know what, there's a lot of excess food in our cafeteria, and let's get this out to people that are in need. Yeah, so the organization started, and they now have over 200 chapters in universities all over the country. And they are bringing in students from San Francisco State and from some of their chapters here to be able to recover the food. And first time they've done it, I think they're a little bit nervous about it. I think we're a little bit nervous about it. It's a lot of food to move out of here. So, but it's well organized. They'll all be wearing shirts, so people know that these are the people recovering the food. And you have to be really careful. Members get stickers that they can put on what they want to donate. The stickers say perishable or non-perishable. Mm-hmm. So it's pretty simple. They'll go through and recover the perishable products first. So anything which is refrigerated needs to be out of a booth and into a refrigerated truck within 4 hours. So that's the rule in San Francisco. That's the rule in New York. Yeah. So those are concentrated on first. So that stuff will get out of here really quickly.
So what happens if you had sent a letter to somebody, they didn't think they were going to have food left over, but they do have food left over, and they're seeing the people walking by. Do they still have the ability to give it to them?
They do.
Oh, great.
They do. But they have to be asked, right. And actually they have to volunteer.
Yeah.
We don't.
So it has to be the exhibitor who sees one of these people say, hey, I got some food, give me a sticker, right. I want to be part of this program.
That's
correct. Need the exhibitors to be much more proactive.
The exhibitors need to be proactive, and some of the exhibitors will say, and it sometimes work through their floor manager who manages that. They'll say, hey, you can take my entire booth. And they'll go through and they'll take everything out of the booth.
Oh, that's great.
So, yeah. But most of the companies, they plan beforehand. They're good with putting the stickers on their products. We want to make sure only products which are stickered, which are taken.
Yes.
Because they may want some of these products. They may be coming back tomorrow to collect these products. We had one situation happen a couple years ago where one of our members had put all his show orders in a box, in a salsa case, and it was collected, and ended up at, the food bank, and we actually got it back for him.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we got it back for him, but it was not the easiest thing to do, so we just have to be careful with that recovery.
Well, to all the exhibitors who have already committed to donating food, and to all our exhibitors, who haven't yet, but when you see these people going down, reach out to them. If you've got extra food that is packaged as Ron described, get those stickers. Let's do something really meaningful with all this terrific food and help people who, frankly, this meal may make the difference for them of having the only meal that they have all day or maybe even all week. So, Ron, thanks. Great job as always.
Well, thank you. We'd love to be above that 50,000 pounds this year. Sure. So if the members and the exhibitors could be generous, we'd love to get that up to 60,000 pounds.
So that's the challenge, 60,000 pounds. Don't forget it. We're going to take a break. When we come back, more at SFA News Live right here on the Moscone show floor in San Francisco at the 2018 Fancy Food Show.
Director of content.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, we're back right here at SFA News Live. Denise Purcell is with me. She's the director of content, editorial content for Specialty Foods Association. She puts together the magazine, does all kinds of stuff. We worked together years ago on Today Show segments where we would pull together all kinds of products, and she's the eyes and ears for trends. So she's been walking around with a group of trend spotters. We have some of the products with us. So, let's just start going through them.
Sure.
The mushroom sampler box. Now, you've got to tell me about this. I just want everybody to see this. This, to me, is really interesting. I happen to love mushrooms, but what's a mushroom sampler box?
Well, mushrooms, the trend spotters identified this as sort of an emerging trend, and we had our eyes open at the show to see how much more we would see.
So there's like all different kinds of like tea bags.
Well, that's exactly it. It's a drink. It's in powdered form.
Okay.
You can dissolve it with hot water. You could drink it as is, or you can mix it in with coffee, hot cocoa. This isn't the way it comes packaged for retail. This was just a sample they gave us to show.
Ooh,
but
something just dropped. Whatever.
But
okay.
it's a hot drink.
And did you try it?
I did.
And what do you think?
It's a little earthy, but it's good. And in coffee or hot cocoa, you don't really taste it at all. It just adds maybe a little bit of earthiness to it. But mushrooms, we're seeing them in drinks. We're seeing them in jerky. We're seeing them in teas, in chocolate even as an ingredient, because they've been used in Eastern medicine for a long time medicinally.
Yep.
And it's sort of catching on here that different mushrooms have different health benefits.
So do you think that we're getting to the point where we have a situation of, kombucha stepping aside a little bit and mushrooms are going to take over?
I don't know if they're going to take over, but the whole functional foods and kind of gut health, I think we need a better term for that, but things
absolutely.
like that. But especially the functional foods, I think, are continuing to grow. So you mentioned kombucha. Apple cider vinegar is all over the place too, in elixirs and in shot form and all of that. Also good for digestive health and a lot of the same things kombucha is. And now the mushrooms, that goes beyond digestive health. There are some that are good for brain function. There are some that are good for energy.
And I think brain health is going to be huge over the next couple of years.
Absolutely.
I'm seeing a lot of products here focused on it, a lot of when it comes to trends. Well, show us what else you got.
Okay, so in no random order, regional Middle Eastern. So this is a company called Casablanca Market. It's a Moroccan company.
Love the name.
Run by women. They produce the products in Morocco with a women's co-op. So they're offering, a chance for them to earn a living wage, an economic opportunity, but they're using indigenous ingredients. So that's the harissa. They have preserved lemons, a special kind of lemon.
Red chili peppers, olive oil, lemon, and salt.
Mm-hmm. So it's Moroccan chili peppers. They have another one. I don't have an example of it, but it's...
Before you go to the next one,
yeah.
I'm seeing a lot more women-owned businesses here as well.
Yeah.
That's certainly a trend that I noticed.
Absolutely, and that's been growing over the years especially. And a lot of veteran-owned businesses,
Yes.
we're seeing more of that. So.
And I think what's interesting, unlike previous shows, and again, I think that what everybody needs to do is hashtag whatever you see with Food Innovation Nation.
Oh, yeah.
We are seeing a lot of innovation, and we're seeing it in the booths. It used to be if you were a women-owned company, you'd put it on your package, but you wouldn't, scream it out. Now everybody's screaming it out, whether it's organic, women-owned, B Corporation, non-GMO verified, all that. I mean, that's all over the place.
Well, consumers want to know the story behind the companies. It makes the brands kind of come to life for them. Especially younger consumers, they're not as brand loyal as generations past. Your mom would buy Kleenex, so you buy Kleenex.
Right.
Nothing against Kleenex. But it's not so much about the brand. It's about the product, the quality, the people. They want to know there are people behind their food. They want to know where the ingredients came from.
And they want to meet them, and this whole era of transparency
Absolutely.
is huge. So what else we got?
Okay, so we talked about the regional cuisine. The trend behind that is hummus, falafel. It's kind of mainstream now, but the
Yeah,
trend spotters
absolutely.
are saying we're going to have people digging more into region-specific cuisine, so the Moroccan products. There's another company doing sauces with sustainably farmed saffron from Afghanistan. Interesting stuff like that digs into the indigenous
I didn't even know that
ingredients.
saffron came from Afghanistan.
I didn't either until I, started to dig into this company a little bit. So it's an education process for consumers.
Yeah. And for us.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Now, this one is another interesting one. We talked about the apple cider vinegar.
Right.
That's
Oh, my
Republic of Tea, and it's...
I love Republic of Tea. They
They've got
always
great
have
stuff.
so much innovation. They probably, I don't know how many years they've been around, but since we've been doing this.
And probably beyond.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the stuff is great. So
Yeah.
this is apple cider vinegar.
So this is
And
another
go ahead
kind
and
of
hold that up.
powdered shot form. But what they did is, the apple cider vinegar, a lot of it is you take it straight or you
Right.
mix it with
Right.
water. They've kind of cut into it a little bit with hibiscus and cranberry. But the reason this is...
So it actually tastes like something
It
because
yeah.
for me, apple cider vinegar does not do it.
I don't mind it, but this does
Yeah.
cut into
Yeah.
the vinegar of
Yeah.
it, But the trend here is apple cider vinegar, but it's also that this is sweetened with monk fruit and alternative
And
sweeteners.
monk fruit is
Yeah,
flying off the
absolutely.
shelves. There's huge opportunity
Monk
there.
fruit dates are another thing we're seeing.
Yep.
A lot of date syrups, dates being used to sweeten
And
things.
frankly, it's a lot better than companies using high fructose corn syrup or beet sugar. And especially to your point, with millennials and Generation Z, they don't want those ingredients. They
Yeah.
want a much cleaner label.
Absolutely.
And monk fruit certainly is much cleaner than high fructose corn syrup.
And I think, specialty consumers are paying more attention to their sugar intake. Not that
Absolutely.
they're cutting it out completely.
Yeah.
I think maybe they're saving it for when they really want to indulge and have a great chocolate
yeah,
or
exactly.
whatever,
That's exactly
But
where I
day
was
to
going.
day, they're open to the alternative
Yeah.
sweeteners.
So what else we got?
We have Moringa is another one. Now this
So Moringa,
is,
okay,
that's a
organic
tea.
Moringa superfood energy infusion. Moringa vanilla oolong grape tea. Can you make that name brand any longer?
Moringa, though, is kind of poised to be the new superfood. You know how
Really?
we were talking about turmeric a year
Yeah,
ago? And
yeah,
turmeric's
yeah.
still around. It's not going any place. But Moringa
I can
is
open these,
a
right?
leaf.
Or I'm just
yeah.
destroying just like
No, you're
products.
fine.
Okay. I
We
just
brought a
wanna
few
get
extras.
The aroma.
It's a leaf, and
Yeah.
it's being used in teas, in powdered in snack bars and things. But it's really high in
Wow,
antioxidants.
I love that aroma.
Yeah, the aroma's
Wow.
great. They've done some interesting flavors, and it
And I also love this kind of tea bag where
Yeah.
it's the mesh, where the tea leaves. The problem that your typical tea leaves have, or tea bags have, everything's compressed,
Yeah.
so the tea really can't infuse into the water.
Yeah.
But when you've got these tea bags with like this much space and so on, you really get the full flavor.
yeah, and you can see
Yeah.
it. You can see the leaves.
Wow.
you
Yeah.
know.
This is. Yeah. I would agree with you.
So we're
This
going to
is-
be, I think,
yeah.
hearing more about Moringa. It's got
Yep.
a lot of health properties, high in iron, antioxidants.
And I can definitely have the fragrance of vanilla. I don't have the fragrance of grape all that much in there,
Yeah.
but vanilla certainly.
Yeah.
And we have more mushrooms.
Mushrooms are a thing. Mushroom jerky. These are mushroom chips.
These are
so
mushroom
they're made
chips.
from whole
Let me
shiitake
see if I can take this
mushrooms.
label off so you can see the.
Yeah, that's a sample,
Yeah.
so it has the label
Well, you
on
can't
it.
sort of like see it, but maybe you can see it.
Well, it's
That's
made
what it
from
looks
whole
like.
shiitake mushrooms.
Made from whole shiitake mushrooms, and
Uh-huh.
it's mushroom chips.
Mushroom chips.
Let's-
And it kind of hits on another trend besides
Yeah.
mushrooms. It's root to stem is something
Yep.
we're seeing more. Seeing it in food service a lot, but here it's using the whole mushroom.
Wanna
into the
try
chip.
one?
Sure. Why not? Let's see.
And they're actually, they're not mushroom chips, like in the chip form. They look like mushrooms, so they're
like
little
dried
tiny
mushrooms.
dried mushrooms. So that's really kind of cool. And certainly it's a much healthier snack. If I look at, and again we see non-GMO certified, 20 calories for 3 pieces, 1 gram of fat. Obviously no sugars, dietary fiber in it. So it's and only 25 milligrams of sodium,
Yeah.
which is great. You look at chips, typically they've got tons of sodium in them
Yeah.
to make them flavorful.
And carrying on the whole healthier chips, we saw lentils and chickpeas
Yep.
and now mushrooms.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really, and this comes in different flavors or different varieties of mushrooms.
Comes in shiitake mushrooms with 3 different flavors.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this one is the
That one is
spicy.
yeah.
Spicy. Was it spicy? didn't
It
seem...
wasn't spicy, no.
Wasn't spicy.
But it was savory.
Okay. So I think, one of the things with all these bag products, when they say spicy, you really got to shake it up.
Yeah.
Because the spices always fall to the bottom.
Yeah.
And last up, we've got two more. We've got Skin Rejuvenation Collagen.
Yes.
Am I supposed to drink this?
You are supposed to, or maybe I'm supposed to
This
drink it.
is-
I think it's more targeted for me as women.
So
but
this is like the shape of a Yakult bottle. And what's it supposed to do?
collagen is an emerging trend. We
Right.
saw it at the last show in a couple of snack bars, infused collagen, and now more in drinks. This is an example of it. It's meant for skin rejuvenation.
Yeah.
It's got some other benefits. They do a couple of different varieties that are good for sleep, that are good for energy. We have an area here called Taste Tomorrow,
Right.
and those aren't products ready for market yet. They're being developed in universities. There is a sparkling tea there, also infused with collagen. So it's something we kind of see starting to trend. We're all getting older.
And also, we saw it first with aloe.
Yeah.
Everybody thought of aloe when you get sunburn, that's what you use. And then a lot of beverages started putting in aloe
Yeah.
because as much as we want to heal our bodies on the outside, we also need to heal our bodies on the inside from all the preservatives and additives and sodium and everything else that we've been consuming all these decades.
And the eating for health, the eating for beauty, even in the case
Yeah.
with the collagen, it's starting to trend. Baby boomers, Gen Xers, millennials are starting
did
to
you taste
age.
it? Did you try it?
I took a sip. Yeah,
And
it was
what-
good.
what was it?
They have a flavored variety, a couple of flavor varieties. It's one of these things where, similar to chocolates with probiotics in it, you
Yeah.
don't taste the part that's good for you,
Right,
or that's
right.
doing you some kind of benefit.
Oh, and it's I guess the color of collagen, which I guess I understand why they put this label on the product. It's not very.
It
appealing.
looks like a juice almost
looks
to
like
me.
a juice.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to help my skin here.
Well, we'll see.
It's actually very, very tasty. I did not expect
It's refreshing, right?
It's refreshing. It has a nice mouthfeel to it. Yeah. Okay. And last up, we have.
Now this one is interesting because plant-based, if you've walked around the show, I'm sure
Yeah,
you saw
plant-based is
plant-based
huge
is
here.
huge. That is, I'd say, the trend for 2018.
Right.
And so it's in meat alternatives, it's in, dairy alternatives, but some of it is sneaking into treats. Now this is a chocolate bar, dark chocolate power bar, right?
8 grams
got
of
8 grams of
protein. Yeah.
algae protein.
Yeah.
Algae is starting to make its way into bars, into chocolates, into
Oils. I mean,
oils.
if you take a look at algae oil, is one of the best, healthiest oils that are there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and
yeah.
it's sustainable, which a lot of consumers, especially
Yeah.
younger ones, care about now. They're looking for more sustainable alternatives, and they're willing to, kind of cut back on their meat consumption and work these into their diet.
And also, it has dark chocolate and 70% cacao, which is really good chocolate. It's
Absolutely.
not just a replacement for a candy bar. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Denise, wow, you've done a great job.
Thank you.
As always, and we're going to look forward to these and a lot more in Specialty Foods Magazine. When does the show issue come out?
The show issue is here at the show, and it should be in the mail. People should be receiving it.
Great.
The winter issue.
So you'll be able to see all these products. Again, if you're not here, make sure you visit us in the summer, the last week in June at the Jacob Javits Center for the Summer Fancy Food Show. You've seen these, almost 20,000 people here, all these products, all 30 different countries. Wait, at Javits Center in New York, it's much bigger. There's 70 countries. It's a much bigger show, as if you can imagine this. This is about the size of 3 football fields. It's this building, it's the North Building, and then there's another pavilion upstairs. Lots of great education. Symposiums going on, everything that you need to know about food. And I don't want to use the word specialty food. This is exciting food. This is the future of food. This is food tomorrow. Again, the hashtag Food Innovation Nation. Use it. This is a movement that is really going to change food no matter where you buy. Whether it's a convenience store, whether it's a supermarket, whether it's going to a restaurant, bottom line is the Fancy Food Show 2018 is just the beginning. We're going to see this stuff proliferate through the entire food chain. And make sure you log on to Specialty Food Association's website to see this, all these recorded interviews, great interviews like with Denise and with Ron, and really understand where the food movement is going, because it's not, it's not our parents, food industry. It's not the food industry that you and I first started in.
Yeah.
A lot of change in the past couple years, and the leadership that SFA has really given to these companies, to the retailers, is second to none. Going to take a break. We'll be right back with more after this. We're back live, SFA News Live, telling you everything that's going on right here on the show floor. With me is Regina Northhouse from Food Recovery Network.
Hello.
Ron, Tanner, and I, we're talking a lot about you. Glad we were able to get you up here. You've got a challenge. You've got to get 50,000 plus. And Ron put out a challenge to all the exhibitors. He wants 60,000 pounds,
Let's do it.
of food from the exhibitors rather than shipping it back. He told the story of how you started at the University of Maryland. What we also want to do is make sure that all the exhibitors know that the bottom line is that what you can do if you didn't sign up for this before, you see somebody in one of these T-shirts walking around starting to collect food, stop them and get stickers from them so that you can add to the 54,000 pounds of food that have already been committed, number one. We want to reach 60,000 pounds. And, you've got a daunting task, Regina, in getting all this. I know it's San Francisco State students who are volunteering to help. So talk to us a little bit about what happens after you collect the food, who's it going to, and how meaningful is this donation?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for your interest and your support in getting everyone rallied around this cause. I really appreciate that. I think we're going to hit that 60,000 pounds. So after the food is collected, and I have to give a shout out to all of our volunteers who are helping with that effort. It's our biggest effort to date for Food Recovery Network.
So you're a little nervous?
I'm not nervous.
Good.
Because I know we're going to do it.
Yeah,
We're going to do
okay.
it. And the volunteers that we have they're amazing. We actually had one of our alums from the University of San Diego drove up yesterday to be here with us.
Great.
So we have just amazing people in our corner to make this happen. Maybe a little nervous.
It's okay.
Maybe a little
We're all
nervous.
with you. We're all going to help.
Right.
I'm going to go out there. I'll put on a T-shirt
Get
and
some
I'll help
sneakers,
collect
get
it.
T-shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. So I'm really proud to say that after the recovery, we're going to bring the food to the Delancey Street Foundation. So they're not too far from here. We have been in touch with them for several weeks now about what the effort is going to look like. And what's really important about that is with Food Recovery Network, and I know with Ron and his team, it's about relationships. And so we wanted to make sure that all the amazing food that we're going to collect today can be put to really good use. And not every organization has the capacity to take 60,000 pounds of food. That is,
right.
it's literally
Right.
truckloads of food.
Yeah.
And so for Food Recovery Network, it's really important. And a lot of the food is going to be non-perishable, but some of it is going to be the delicious perishable foods that we have. So we need to make sure that that food can be stored properly, safely, and that the nonprofit where we bring the food, so in this case, Delancey Street Foundation, can also handle that food properly.
So how does Delancey Street Foundation get the word out to people who are, I hate to use the word, but starving, that this might be
Yeah.
their only meal today or all week?
Yes.
You know, how do they communicate that? And what's the process? I mean, are we going to see, and I don't want to be melodramatic, but are we going to see 10,000 people lined up to get food?
That's a really good question. So what they're going to do is basically fold the food that we're able to provide to them into their efforts already. And with Delancey Street and with a lot of our nonprofits, they actually do any number of things. So sometimes they will actually take the food that we have. So we'll have lots of sample packs of different foods, like the pastas and the canned vegetables, whatever it might be. And they will actually open up that food and make a meal from it.
Ah, okay.
So a lot of our
Well, that's great.
partner agencies, they do that. They'll
You
actually
take
make
the
a meal.
pasta, you take the vegetables, you take the sauce, and voila.
And then everyone
Yeah.
comes and has their
Yeah.
regular meal.
Okay.
And then any number of our other nonprofits, what they'll do is they'll actually redistribute that food. So they'll make little baskets or bags for people to take with them that they can then prepare in their own homes. The thing about food insecurity or people that just don't have enough to eat is that the majority of those folks actually have jobs.
Right.
The majority of people, they're working, they're trying their hardest. Their two ends just don't meet in the middle.
Right.
And that's a big part of what we're also trying to do in our efforts around education, around the sheer amount of food that we have in this country, who it's really helping. Yes, of course, we're helping our homeless brothers and sisters, our neighbors, but it's also people who are working really hard, and a lot of those people too are children.
And they might have 2 or 3 kids, so they're struggling having 2 or 3 jobs,
Yes.
trying to pull it all together. And you
Yes.
know, when you look at the program, and I'll probably get the name wrong, but No Kid Hungry, that a lot
Oh,
of
yes.
major food companies have been supported.
Yeah.
The stats are dumbfounding of how many kids don't.
yeah.
And for a lot of these kids, the only meal they get might be school lunch,
It's
which
true.
is why also school breakfast is so important.
Yes.
These programs are critical. And especially without getting political in today's political environment, and the Farm Bill is coming up, where school nutrition is changing, where we have a Secretary of Agriculture who has changed the regulations, so foods that are high in sodium are now back allowed. All of the great work that Michelle Obama did to really convert it into healthier foods has been undone. So it's critical
It is
that
critical.
that we can serve this population. And to your point, some people might be homeless, but a lot of them have families. They're working hard,
Yep.
and they're struggling.
They are struggling.
So if we can help them, and have everybody who's here, all you exhibitors out there,
Yes.
make sure that you donate, because the cost to take the extra product that you have
Yep.
here, ship it back, it might be damaged, whatever, it's not worth it. You'll get a tax deduction
We can do that.
from the Specialty Food Association's foundation. You'll be helping people. It's good for the planet. You're going to feel good in your heart for doing it. So Food Recovery Network, Ron had told me there's over 200 chapters now.
There are.
That's great.
It's amazing. We at this moment in time, we have 235 chapters across the country. And again, as you mentioned, we
Yep.
started at one school
That's
in
fabulous.
2011, and it's grown from there. And so I always say about Food Recovery Network, we are a national organization, but with a local solution. So our school here in San Francisco State, they know their community better than we know it,
Sure.
back where headquarters is. And our students maintain and foster the relationship with the organizations where they bring their food. And that's the case with all of our chapters across the country. The majority of our chapters bring their food to at least 2 nonprofits, and some of them bring it to 3, 4, 5.
Wow.
I mean, we work with big state schools, small private schools, you name it. The movement is so diverse, and what unites us all the things that you just said. The care that people shouldn't go hungry, and we have the time to distribute this food and get it to where it needs to go. 1 carload of food, and in this case, a couple truckloads of food at a time.
So how many people, with 60,000 pounds of food, how many people do you think we're going to be able to feed?
Oh my gosh. So that will translate into about a little less than 50,000 meals.
Wow.
So the equation is a meal, typically they say, is about 1.1 pounds of food.
Okay.
So we're going to be able to feed tens of thousands of
50,000 people. That's
because of
fabulous.
today.
That's fabulous.
It's really
Well,
incredible.
Congratulations. Keep
Thank
up the
you
good
so much,
work.
Will. It's so
Keep
nice
up the good
talking with
work.
you. Thank
and,
you.
And I'll come by and I'll get a T-shirt so I can
Yes,
help
absolutely.
rally the troops.
That sounds perfect.
And Ron Tanner's got to do it too.
Yes.
We're both going to get
He's
T-shirts.
gonna do it.
We're going to both help. So thanks so much.
Thank you.
We're going to take a break. We're live, SFA News Live on the show floor here at Moscone Center. Fancy Food Show 2018. We've got another, a full day here. The show does not end till 4 o'clock. It is packed with people, packed with education, throughout the day. So if you want to know what's going on, stay tuned right here. We're on Facebook Live, we're on YouTube, and all these interviews will be posted on the Specialty Foods Association webpage. So everything you want to know about food, not just specialty food, but all things food, you're with us right here. We're back, SFA News Live. Now, this morning's panel was fabulous. I told you about it. It's all about food disruptors for people who are changing the face of food. Pradeep is one of them. Don't forget, hashtag Food Innovation Nation. This is a movement. This is not, a food expo where it just has a bunch of different exhibitors trying to sell their cookies and crackers and cheese and stuff like that. You go around this show and people are concerned about the environment. There's certainly a major concern about food hunger, as we just heard. It's about women corporations. It's about B corporations. It's really about being able to bring this to an entirely new level. And Farmstead is doing that. So Pradeep, tell us about Farmstead, why this is important, and how people should pay attention to what you're doing.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. Farmstead is a new AI-powered digital grocer. We bring locally sourced, high-quality groceries right to your doorstep in under 60 minutes.
So I just want to emphasize that. under 60 minutes. I remember the days when Amazon started, and I was so excited that I could buy a book and it would be delivered to me in a week.
Right.
Then I was excited when it went to 2 days, then 1 day, now 4 hours, and you're telling me you can deliver me fresh food in 60 minutes or less.
You can build a $150 order and get it to your doorstep in, on average, about 35 minutes in San Francisco.
So, okay, and you're just right now in San Francisco. You have plans to expand.
We're in the Bay Area, so we're live
Okay.
San Francisco to San Jose, most parts of East Bay and South Bay.
And we need you to come to Los Angeles so I can be a customer.
Of course.
Okay. So I guess the dumb question is, how do you do it? I mean, I can envision, especially in San Francisco, which is a very busy city with lots of traffic lights, with lots of congestion and small streets. How do you figure this out?
Well, we'll walk through everything that happens. So first, we got to get the food into our micro hub. So our micro hubs are not a traditional supermarket. They are.
And you
2,000
said
square
hubs.
feet. Hubs. They are not warehouses.
So how many hubs do you have?
We have 2 hubs. There's one
Okay.
in San Francisco in the Mission. There's another one in San Mateo.
Okay.
They are about 2,000 square feet. We don't.
So they're not that big?
They're not that big,
Right.
and that's intentional.
Okay.
We don't carry 40,000 items like your traditional supermarket. We carry 1,000 of just the best in every single category.
So you're really, and a lot of the retailers that we've had on have talked about, you're really curating those offerings for your customers.
Very aggressively. And our job is to pick the best in every category so our customers don't have to worry about whether one thing is better than the other.
So you might only have one butter, for example.
We have 2 butters.
Okay.
And we have 3 kinds of potato chips, not
Okay.
40 kinds of potato chips.
Right.
But they are the best in the category for that particular region that we found.
Okay.
We have a bias towards local. So whenever possible, we buy local and seasonal. Our produce comes typically from Bay Area sources. If it's, of course, in the winter, you need produce and it comes from another country, that's the best we can get, and
Right.
we are transparent about that. So then we have software that orchestrates the entire experience from that moment. So our buying is fully automated. It's not actually done by a person.
And when we're talking about buying, we're not talking about a customer buying from you, it's you buying
from our vendors.
your vendors. Okay.
So we work with a lot of different vendors, but we have AI-powered code that tells us exactly what to buy and how much of it to buy to meet our customer demand while not wasting so much. So traditional supermarkets, on average, 35 to 40% perishable food waste. That's appalling and somewhat offensive as technologists to us.
Yes.
So for us, we care a lot about using technology to reduce how much we even have on stock so we don't waste too much in the long run. So when a traditional supermarket tells you, well, we have this donation program that gets all of this food out the door and donate it, that's fantastic. It's great that the food is getting routed properly, but you shouldn't have the waste in the first
Right,
place.
exactly,
Right?
exactly.
So that's what we try to do as much as possible. And once it's in the micro hub, we have software that orchestrates all aspects of picking and packing. So we can pack this $100 order directly to in about 5 minutes.
Wow.
And in parallel, a driver is dispatched to our hub, and a driver shows up, and immediately they're handed the bag. 30 minutes later, it's at your door, and it's perfect.
So, that sounds fabulous, and you need to come to LA. Okay,
Yeah.
number one. When you come to the Fancy Food Show, and obviously you're looking for the best ever, and you're trying to curate and so on, what do you look for, number one, to pick, one of 1,000 products? And number two, what have you seen so far on the show floor that you said, yeah, I'm gonna add that to Farmstead?
So recently we've been spending a lot of time thinking about plant-based food. That's one of our primary focus here at the Fancy Food Show. When we're looking at categories, this is not a SKU expansion play. We don't wind up carrying 40,000 items like
Right.
a typical supermarket. So we have to be careful about which items per category we are adding. So whenever we're thinking about how do we increase basket size at Farmstead, that's typically around how do we increase the number of categories, not the number of SKUs. So we are looking for new and unique new product categories that we can offer to our customers. And of course, it is retail, irrespective of whether it's a brick and mortar retail or online. So novelty is interesting, but so is following the trends.
So for you, number one trend is plant-based, what you're
At the
seeing
moment,
here?
yeah.
Yeah. So, and we've heard that a lot from
Yeah.
a lot of retailers over the past couple days. So what is, as someone who has a purview of what's going on in the food world and being a disruptor of what that is, what does the Specialty Food Association, what does the Fancy Food Show mean for you?
Well, for us, it's
For Farmstead.
For Farmstead
Yeah.
specifically, it's a great opportunity to see what is happening locally, nationally, and internationally. Right, in terms of what are the products that are coming to market, how do we wind up, as we're thinking through expansion, how do we kind of map out the lay of the land in every one of these markets? Because if you are a producer in LA and you're coming to LA, we will bias towards LA production.
Right.
If you're selling potato chips that are kettle cooked and in small batches in Los Angeles, we want to talk to you.
Gotcha.
Same in the Bay Area.
So without revealing something that you might not want to reveal, how many customers are you now serving in the Bay Area?
We're doing thousands of deliveries a week in the Bay Area.
Okay.
And we also
And
have
you've been doing this
partnerships.
2 years now?
About a year and a half or so.
About a year and a half,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and we of course have partnerships with Postmates and Uber Eats, where our storefront is listed on their platforms. So in addition to Farmstead's website and mobile app, we wind up also.
So I could have Uber Eats deliver it to me.
Yeah, it's also possible.
Okay.
And our job is to get distribution for these amazing brands that we see here at the Fancy Food Show.
Well, it's terrific. And, besides plant-based, give me one more hint of what I'm going to see on Farmstead soon.
Well, we've been spending a little bit of time thinking about, it's still plant-based, but not just regular meat, but plant-based meat.
Like Beyond Meat,
Beyond Meat,
Ethan, who was on your
yeah,
panel,
Ethan on the
he'll be
panel.
here in a little while talking about that.
That's correct. We
Yeah.
are quite excited about that.
Yeah, and I've been to Ethan and Beyond Meat's facility in Southern California, and what he's doing is great.
Right.
And I don't know if he told the story because I had to run down here, but it's a real interesting background. His parents are environmental professors. They are concerned, they teach about the environment, and his grandfather had a dairy farm. So he
Right.
grew up in the summers and on vacations going to his grandfather's dairy farm with cows,
Right.
and his parents environmental, and he's smack in the middle changing both.
Right.
So
yeah, it's
that's a
pretty
great
interesting.
story.
We're my background's actually, my parents are both veterinarians. It's pretty
okay.
close. So I spent a lot of time wandering around with them as they were in India going through this. But Farmstead actually started after my daughter turned 2, and we realized that she started drinking a lot of milk, and I wound up having to go to the supermarket 3-4 times a week buying the same things over and over and over.
Right.
And as an engineer, it's extremely frustrating to do the same thing over and over and over.
Very inefficient.
Extremely inefficient.
Yep.
And then we figured, well, let's ask more people and see who's interested in just a milkman service. And that's how we started. In 2 days, we had 200 people sign up.
Wow.
And immediately after that, we started adding more and more produce and figuring out delivery regions.
See, I'm jealous
here we are.
because my grandfather's a dairy farmer and my father used to deliver milk on the milk trucks. So why didn't my dad think of this? Right? Well, Pradeep, thanks so much for what you're
Thank you
doing.
so much.
It's great. You are certainly one of our leading food disruptors. Keep up the good work and get to Santa Monica. We need you in Santa Monica.
See you soon. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
We're going to take a break. We'll be right back with more on SFA News Live. Welcome back to SFA News Live. Now, I know you love salsa. I love salsa. I got to tell you, my favorite salsa is made by this guy right here, Doug Renfro. It's Mrs. Renfro's salsa. It was your mom's recipe, right? Where you started?
Grandmother started.
Grandmother
the company,
started. Okay. Salsa has a lot of players. You're not the biggest, but I think you're like actually number 9, the 9th biggest salsa
Right, out of
company.
over 600 brands nationally.
That's fabulous.
It's been a wild ride and a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can imagine. And we actually did a taste test on Supermarket Guru, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks ago on one of your newest ones, which actually used craft beer in salsa. Now, I've seen craft beer being used in a lot of things. First time I ever had it in salsa, and it was fabulous.
Thank you. Yeah, it was an exciting project to pair with a local microbrewer, another multi-generational family business. Was very exciting. They actually make the beer right across the freeway from our factory.
Oh, so it's easy.
It's very close.
Very close. So, talk to me about, partnerships like this, because I want to say years ago, we had some of the big companies try to cross-partner with other brands within their portfolio, but it was a force fit, and they didn't work. It was like, I'm going to make it up, but something that had Kraft cheese in it, and it just never took off. Now I'm seeing more independent companies, more smaller companies. Not that you're small, but
We're small.
Yeah, but small-ish type of companies working with other similar-sized companies and producing fabulous products. Do you think that this is a trend that's going to grow and continue?
I do. There's been a huge backlash against the giant companies. You've seen the sales on Bud Light, for example, down 20%. People of my children's generation, millennials, they want to know that there's a real person behind a brand, a real company, a real
not
story.
Really a Bud?
I think it's Mr. Bud. No, but these ads from the Cliff Bar talking about living with his dad until he's in his 30s and starting the company. People love that stuff.
Yep. And when we look at trends, and certainly you've had a chance to walk around, the show floor. Not only do I see the transparency that you talk about with millennials, but also taste. And I'm going to get specifically to your category. And I taste a lot of different foods. A lot of different foods are sent to us. And salsa, while it's not, an easy product to make good, people can have other people co-pack salsas for them, and most of them are terrible. Out of those 600 brands that you mentioned, maybe I could count on both hands, probably 25 salsas that I would actually eat that are not, just goopy, watery, that tomatoes are not the first ingredient, things like that.
Right.
So I think that in addition to the transparency and knowing the company that you're buying things from, having a great tasting product with great quality ingredients is probably more important now than ever. And, certainly since your grandma, had the recipe, you've held true to that.
Exactly. We don't change anything. We weigh our spices out to the 100th of a pound for a 4,000-pound batch.
Oh, my God.
The flavor profile is so key. Customers don't like things to change.
Right.
They want their mango habanero to taste just like it did last week and last year.
Right.
And as to your point, delicious quality, that's number one. And when we pick out a supplier, for example, we look at quality, then service, then price. Price should be last after the first two.
That's great. So what have you seen as you've been walking around the show floor, not in the salsa category, but other categories, that you went, wow, that's a hot trend, that's going to be cool, that's going to make it, that's not going to make it. Let's not talk about those that are not going to make it. But what are some of those things that you've seen that have really impressed you at the show this year?
Yeah, I like things like chili-infused honey. I'm always looking for the strange things, cricket powder protein made into a pancake. I'm on the edge all the time seeing what we might be doing 5 years from now. But not what I call the bleeding edge, where you lose all your money because only 2 people in the country wanted that product.
Right.
It's a bit of a trick.
Yeah.
But heirloom, authenticity, flavors from South America that no one knows how to pronounce. These are the things that are fun to watch and see which one out of 100 makes its way into the mainstream.
So you mentioned, cricket powder, and we're seeing a lot more plant protein, a lot more insect protein. Will the day come where we're going to see, Mrs. Renfro's that have, insect protein in it to add so you can, be packed with protein even when you have your salsa? I happen to love your salsa on a plain baked potato. That for me, I'm not a big chip than dip type of person. But nothing better, if I get home late at night for dinner, bake a potato, put Mrs. Renfro's salsa on top of it. It's a meal. It's great.
And it is very healthy in that aspect. I know Weight Watchers at one time was encouraging the baked potato use because you're replacing butter and sour cream.
Right.
A lot of fat and cholesterol. I use the mango habanero as my salad dressing for the same reason.
Oh, that's interesting.
No fat, no
I've never
cholesterol.
tried it as salad dressing.
Give that a
makes
try.
sense. Yeah.
Good particulate, great flavor, and that way you can eat more chocolate later.
But you didn't answer my question about...
I forgot what it was. I'm bad about that.
Insect protein in salsa.
Yeah, the cricket salsa is probably delayed until I retire. I think the family might fire me. Maybe a little too edgy.
Fourth generation.
Yeah, let them do that.
Okay, fair enough. So, you've been a member of Specialty Food Association for a long time. What does SFA mean for Mrs. Renfro's, the company? What has it done for you?
I mean, I would say it's been the most important factor in growing our brand from a little Fort Worth, Texas company to an international player. The safety net of having all these members I can ask questions of, the education programs, which initially we took advantage of, now we help teach and participate and mentor other little companies like us, is phenomenal. And I've found in this industry, everybody's incredibly friendly and helpful. As long as you're not a direct competitor,
right,
and even maybe then after a cocktail, they're very helpful. And it's been amazing for us. Anytime I have a question, I email maybe 10 or 20 of the members, and I get amazing response, really intelligent answers.
Well, I've been coming to the show since I've been a teenager with my dad.
Wow.
And the energy at this year's show, everything that's really taking place, you can feel the difference. And, Phil Kafrakis and I were talking before, and this show, it's not just about quote-unquote specialty foods. This is the future. And in fact, don't forget to use the hashtag Food Innovation Nation to get the word out, because this is not, and I say this very respectfully, these are not products that are just sold in little gourmet stores. I've seen major supermarket buyers, major food service buyers here. They want to find out really what's coming next, what the future is, and how have you seen this show evolve and take the leadership position, because now, from where I sit as an industry observer, I mean, SFA is the industry leader, not only for doing 2 fabulous shows a year, but also the education programs that you mentioned. I mean, it's really propelled itself to fabulous leadership for the entire industry.
It's really evolved quite a bit, as you said. When we started to join about 20 years ago, it was controversial to some degree whether or not we'd be allowed in, because we were a supermarket, a grocery store brand.
Right.
And it was very controversial when some of the big retailers started attending, but you couldn't stop it. And companies like ours, exactly. They're coming to see what's new and exciting.
Yep.
And the industry will just keep changing and evolving. But you're right, we have to be here now. We'll have 100 meetings at our booth over 3 days.
Wow.
On one set of airfare and hotel. It's a phenomenal value for us.
I mean, 100 meetings with people. So without putting you on the spot, and you can tell me it's none of my business, out of those 100 meetings, how many do you think are going to be new orders and new customers that you get?
We're fortunate to be in most of the grocery chains in the country, so what we're trying to do is get them to take a new item, discuss that Super Bowl program, maybe that went awry last year. We also, we make salsa for other people. It's half of what we do. I have tremendous leads here. We had a new customer from Europe wander up who we're looking very seriously at a large co-pack opportunity with, that we could have done it by phone and email, but seeing somebody in person that came halfway across the world makes all the difference.
Being able to look at somebody eye to eye and really build a relationship. And I think that's what SFA has. It's a relationship, it's a community that's second to none. As you said, you've got a question, you can shoot an email out to 10 people and get answers.
Right.
And smart answers. Well, Doug, congratulations. Bring out more new brands. Send it to us. I love your product.
Thank you. We've got a secret in the kitchen we hope to maybe have this summer in New York, so keep your eyes peeled.
Well, you got to send it to me first.
Absolutely.
Okay, fair enough. Doug,
thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us as always.
Enjoyed it.
Keep up the great work. This is SFA News Live. We're live on Facebook, live on YouTube. All these interviews will be posted. And matter of fact, not only posted, but we're going to take all these interviews and send them out via email. And the SFA social media channels between now and the summer show. So don't forget, this is the small show. 1,600 exhibitors, 30 countries, about 20,000 people coming, the small show. And in New York is the big show, end of June. So if you haven't registered, keep in mind, it's not for consumers. This is qualified people only. You can't get in here if you're not a retailer, if you're not qualified. Go to the Specialty Food Association's webpage and find out more. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. We are back at SFA News Live. We've got lots more coming up, so stay tuned. In fact, Shannon Allen is going to be with us. You heard her this morning talking about this new fabulous restaurant concept called Grown. You got to stay tuned for that one. But first up, I come from New Jersey, and I'm one of those bagel snobs. I grew up eating bagels in Newark, New Jersey. It was a company called Watson Bagel. I think they're still around. I'm not quite sure. But New York bagels are the best bagels ever. So when we heard about this company, Just Bagels, we had to have Cliff join us with Just Bagels, talk to us about it. And you can be a little snob about why New York bagels are so much better than any other bagel ever.
Well, that goes without question. Yeah. The simple answer is it's the water. It's always the water. New York bagels are definitely the best bagels in the world. We make them in the Bronx. We like to call it the Bronx. And it's a kosher, all natural, real New York bagel. And we're having some success at this booth. I love watching people actually come and eat the bagel because, we'll have samples out there. They'll come, and I'll say, "You want to try a real New York bagel?" They'll come over. They'll take a bite. They'll walk away, and then they'll turn around, and then they'll go, "Wait a second, that was really delicious." And it's a lot of fun. They come back, and then actually it's a lot of the vendors that keep coming back.
Is
also.
This the first time that you've exhibited here?
In San Francisco, yes. But
Okay.
I've done New York a couple times.
So talk to me about the show itself. What is SFA? What does the Fancy Food Show mean for Just Bagels?
Well, I'm going to tell you something right now. I've done a lot of shows, okay? Every year, to me, the shows seem to get a little bit diminished. They get it worse and worse. But
Other
this show,
shows, yeah.
This show, there's no doubt. I might just do this show from now on because it's the buyers that come here, the people, the stores, the brokers. It's just, I've made so many contacts. I really believe that I've met more real people, buyers, stores, at this show than probably my last 6 or 7 shows combined of any
Wow.
other show. I don't really want to name them, but
No, you
there's
don't have
no
to, but
doubt
yeah.
this is by far number one. And I guess that's why you can't get in,
Exactly.
right? I mean, I went to book my booth yesterday.
Yeah.
And I got some corner across the street again. I'm on the end
Really?
aisle next to a door.
Yeah.
I'm like, how could? And if I didn't book it yesterday, I wouldn't
You
even be
probably
here.
wouldn't
I'd
have
be
it.
out.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Well, it's great, and really, if you look at the leadership position that that SFA has taken in the past, 18 months or so on, it's phenomenal. And in fact, what we're doing is we now have a new hashtag called hashtag Food Innovation Nation, and the reason is, in walking around in the past couple days. This is the future of food. It's not specialty food. It's exciting food. It's new foods. It's just about every food that could fill 2 or 3 supermarkets. We're seeing more excitement here than ever before. Taste is always number one. But also a lot of the buyers that I've talked to from the Walmarts of the world to the Hy-Vees to the small retailers, they want to meet people like you.
Yep.
They want to know the passion behind the brand. It's no longer just about price. It's not about the packaging. It's not about the taste. It's more of a holistic look at all these products and who's behind them, because then they're going to know what's going to make a success.
They are very different because I'll tell you, first I applied to become a part of this, and they turned me down. I said, wait a
Because you were
second.
from the Bronx.
I have a real New York water bagel. How could you turn me down? And they said it wasn't like interesting enough or special enough. And then I said, wait a second, let me send you samples. You check them out. I think they turned me down because I had already had a pretty strong distribution network in many, many states. And maybe they felt I wasn't special enough. But after they tasted the bagel and I wrote my story, I mean, it's crazy, but I'm in New York. There's a bagel store on every block, right?
Absolutely.
So how could I possibly be the only real New York bagel doing it on a somewhat large level? How is it possible?
Right.
Well, I think it's because, one, it's really expensive to operate in New York. Really expensive.
Yes,
Labor is...
And it's also, if you look at the number of companies that have announced since January, since the minimum wage has gone up, that they're moving to New Jersey, they're moving outside of the 5 boroughs.
I've had to raise my prices. I mean, I have no choice.
Right.
It's coming again in next January.
Right.
Look, I believe everybody should have certainly a fair wage. And $15 is very reasonable.
Yes.
But the problem is it's going to force a lot of people to automate. And
Correct.
people are going to be... So are you
Well,
better
we're
off
seeing
making...
it with Taco Bell now,
Yeah.
McDonald's,
Right.
getting rid of cashiers, just having touch screens in there for them to do it, to eliminate that labor cost. Absolutely.
Is it better to make $11 an hour and have 100 people working, or $15 an hour and have 30 people working?
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
But the interesting thing about the bagel business is, like, you opened up this little monologue here with when I was a kid in Jersey.
Right.
That's the biggest part that I love about being in this business. I could be in a room with doctors, lawyers, accountants, funeral directors. It just doesn't matter. You talk about bagels, they smile. Everybody has a story of when they were a
Absolutely.
kid, there was a smell down the block. Oh my God, it's my favorite bagel. Tuna fish and lox. It's just really a fun business to be in. And it always puts a smile on people's face.
Well, Cliff, thanks for joining us. Thanks for great bagels. I haven't tasted them yet.
I brought
but-
you one.
Oh, good. Okay,
Yep.
I am going to taste it right after. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
And we'll see you,
I appreciate
at the summer show in New York.
You got it.
Okay.
I put you an everything bagel with cream cheese.
Oh, terrific.
now?
Okay. Yeah. In fact, bring it over. You can keep rolling. I'm gonna have my first taste of my Just Bagel. This is an everything bagel, Cliff said, with cream cheese on it, and it's toasted.
Yeah, this should bring you back. It's
I
just
don't-
heated up in a convection
Oh,
oven.
okay. Yeah, because I'm not big on toasted bagels.
It's just heated
Okay.
up. That's
Okay. So let's see. This is definitely a New York bagel. Definitely.
Thank you.
Thumbs up. I'm going to finish eating my bagel. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. We're back at SFA News Live right here on the show floor at the 2018 Winter Fancy Food Show in San Francisco. With me is Jeremy Gosh. This is the guy. This is the guy from Hy-Vee that I had on my panel that tells me everything that's going on, that we walk stores together and we learn from each other. And this is our future. These are the future retailers, the way this guy thinks. You heard on our panel yesterday some of the things that Hy-Vee are doing, but I really want to focus more with this discussion. This is the first time you've ever been to the Fancy Food Show.
It is my first time, yes.
Okay. Now you've had other people from Hy-Vee here and so on that been excited, but this is your first time here, which is significant for you and for the Specialty Foods Association. So I've got to start telling you, what do you think?
Well, it's been awesome for us, Phil. I mean, the connectivity with really the companies, the suppliers, and really even the founders of a lot of companies. I've been amazed at the people we've met that have really begun from the ground up and are really promoting their product here at this show. That's been a great opportunity for us to connect and draw some plans and find ways to really draw business for both of us and have some things moving forward that we can take away and really go charge for sales for both companies, both us and the suppliers.
Well, I know, Jeremy, that one of the things that you've shared with me before is that what you love to do as a company, not just you, is meet those founders. You go all across the world to source products.
We do.
You just don't wait in your office to have these people come to you and say, hey, here's this product, buy it. You're really out there proactively curating for all your stores, for all the restaurants. So in an environment like this, I would think that this is your playpen here.
Yeah, it has been, honestly. And we do try to follow what the consumer wants. I mean, what they're looking for, and we try to go seek out those that are meeting those needs. And this has been a great spot for us as a playground to absolutely do that. I mean, the innovation that's here, the things that are coming to market, what the customers are looking for, it's been a great opportunity for us to go connect and get a lot of connections. I know everything's digital today, and I send a whole list of photos and contacts to my folks back in Des Moines, and she sent me 97 today. We had connections from yesterday afternoon alone. So
Wow.
You think about that. That's 97 follow-ups from just me from the show from yesterday in 3.5 hours. So
Wow.
It would take us weeks to do that, at the office. And really it's things that we see, items that we see, new and trending.
You're tasting them too.
And we're able to try them.
So,
You bet.
So
you bet.
you can taste something and say right away whether this is a hit
Yep.
or not.
Yep, absolutely.
So
I mean,
it
it's
cuts
been
out.
great.
And for a first timer, I'm going to ask you without specific product names, what are some of the trends that you're seeing that maybe you didn't think were so hot? I mean, what I've heard and I've seen, lots of plant-based protein.
Yeah, I would agree.
Certainly that. But what are some of the other things that you saw that really got you, thinking in about food in a little different way?
I think it's things we've been seeing, but it's really snacking different. I mean, people are snacking healthy. I mean, snacks are becoming meals, which I think we all know. And so as those trend that people want a healthy solution to fulfill the snacking occasion, there's so much of that, both in, whether it's crackers, even desserts. I mean, you're talking about, sweets such as ice cream that are healthy and things like that are coming on. High protein, again, seems to be the buzzword in a lot of the snacks and the trends and the desserts. But it's just been a lot of what you've heard of just on a bigger scale. I think for us, and really that snacking category with both chips and crackers and those kind of things that are good for you and good things to eat, both organic, natural, and high protein, have been something we've seen a lot of here, to be honest with you.
So did you see the chocolate-covered bacon?
We have.
And individually packaged one strip of chocolate-covered bacon.
We have seen that, yes. I don't know if that fits the healthy part of the trend.
No comment. So let's talk again for a moment about Hy-Vee. Great retailer. You've got stores that are second to none. You've now started to include Wahlburgers on the menus of Market Grill. There's about 120 Market Grills now?
Well, we have the differentiated Market Grill and Market Grill Express. So we have 43 Market Grills freestanding, and then we've got roughly 100 or so Market Grill Expresses. So between the two concepts, we've got about 140 Market Grill Express restaurants that we've rolled out so far. So the Wahlburgers menu items that you're going to see roll out this summer will really hit our Market Grills. as we start to open Wahlburgers restaurants in the metros, you'll see the Market Grill pick up those items as those Wahlburgers begin to open and roll out.
So, the term, an official term, is called grocerant.
Right.
So why do you want to be in the restaurant business and the supermarket business? Some people might look at it and say, they're really in conflict with each other. You're stealing from each other. Why create Market Grill and Market Grill Express and now going into Wahlburgers? Why be in the restaurant business?
Well, for us, I think we've never done anything halfway. So as you see the trends of, people continue to eat out more, frankly, than they're buying food at home or cooking at home, it's just natural for us. We have chefs in the store, we have dietitians in the store, we have the expertise to really develop a restaurant with a full commissary as a back room, meaning the grocery store. So for us, it's been more of a tie and a synergy than it has been something that's really fighting each other. So it's worked out very well for us, where we feel like we can bring a very high quality restaurant experience to our consumers using, real food that we make right there in the store, using our store products to fulfill those needs. So, and for us, it really brings your culinary expertise to grocery. I mean, really, as you tie those together, you can really show the consumer what you can do with your own product inside of a restaurant space. So we don't think it conflicts. We think it more is a synergy than a conflicting paradigm as you move forward. So it's been great for us.
And also, Hy-Vee certainly in the country has been a leader as it relates to health and wellness. You've got a registered dietitian in every store, some stores even two of them.
Right.
Talk about that commitment to health and wellness. You alluded to it before, in snacking and some of the other products. But Hy-Vee is really committed to make, your customers live longer, better, healthier.
We have. I mean, we really operate what we refer to as 3 strategic pillars, and one of those 3 is health and wellness. So inside of that health and wellness space, we do pharmacies, and we have health markets, which obviously a lot of the items at this show are fitting into our health markets very well. And inside of those health markets, we have dietitians that really help consumers make good choices, figure out really their diet and what they should do depending on their need state, and really just announced a new partnership with Orange Theory as well to really put fitness facilities next to and really inside of our stores in a lot of spots. So we continue to grow and evolve in health and wellness, between pharmacy, fitness, nutrition, and really the whole paradigm of what everybody wants, as well as medical clinics in many stores. So we're trying to fulfill the need of the consumer as a total health solution and destination as it becomes more and more convoluted and hard to find, and varying opinions out there. If we can be a one-stop shop to help them live better, we feel like it's a win for both us and them as a consumer.
So I only have one request, that I need a Hy-Vee in Santa Monica, California.
We're not quite out west yet.
I know. Yet, but hopefully soon.
Maybe someday.
Because then I will be a 100% loyal shopper. Jeremy, thank you as always for everything. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back with more after this. We're back, SFA News Live. Coming up is Shannon Allen. We're gonna expose you to a whole new restaurant concept that is going to change the way you and I eat forever. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, don't forget our hashtag Food Innovation Nation. This is a movement that's starting here that we're really talking more about leadership than ever before. Going up and down these aisles, we're not just seeing great tasting products. We're seeing products that have a commitment to the planet, commitment to each other, and the excitement is unbelievable. I've been coming to these shows since, with my dad when I was a teenager. And this show is the best show ever. It's almost 20,000 people, 1,600 exhibitors, 30 different countries. I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of foods. I haven't tasted them all yet, but I'm going to try. With me is Dominic BG. Dominic, thanks so much for joining us.
Real pleasure.
And when we take a look at this food space and we take a look at what's going on at the Fancy Food Show, what are some of the trends and what are some of the issues that you're concerned with?
Well, quite a few of them. Let me start off with, we're an old established company, 90 years old. And, back when my grandma started the company and my dad was making product, it was about getting really good tasting product, but it had to be safe and
needed great product.
And long shelf life and those kinds of things. And so the ingredient stream and the supply chain was much different than it is now, and it's evolving. And so we're trying to take an old product but still maintain those flavors that our customers enjoy, and then trying to clean up our products and give the attributes that our consumers want. And even though we're kind of an old, dirty line, we're trying to make it clean and new and cool.
And also the innovation with a lot of the flavors
absolutely
that you've done over the past, I want to say, 2 or 3 years has been sensational.
Well, it's always been our niche is we want our customers, our brokers, to come to our booth and ask us what's new. And I like it when all my competitors come to our booth and say what's new, because that's what we do really, really well.
So I'm going to do that. What's new? What do you have at the show this year that I haven't tasted yet?
Several things. When we do use this show really as a good focus study group, instead of hiring a professional firm and do it all out and bring it all in a real clinical scientific, we come to Fancy Food Show where our customers and people who enjoy food are here, and they really give us honest feedback. So we're looking, and we have a curry mustard that we're rolling out. We're rolling out new flavors, or cleaner flavors of existing flavors that we have, and we're getting our sales team involved in those. We brought out a Japanese mustard, a 7-spice blend mustard.
I've got to tell you, I'm excited about that because I happen to love Chinese mustard.
Yeah.
And I always have to go to the store, get those little tiny jars that are very expensive, and the mustard scares me with the ingredients and so on. So now I'm going to have to come and buy your Japanese mustard.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. We got into wasabi, real authentic real wasabi years ago. We're probably the largest producer of real wasabi in North America, and we want to continue that infusion. It's a great thing about being in the United States is you can blend anything with anything and create something really fabulous here, as opposed to a traditional cuisine in an old country. And we really have that. It's really nice to be able to do both here.
It is, and so you're 90 years old. What do you have planned for the 100th anniversary?
I got about 10 more years to figure it out. My dad is actually 90 years old, so my grandma started the company when my dad was just a baby, and my dad's very healthy and he's getting along great. And
it's all that great mustard.
He's been pickled, with all the horseradish.
And keep in mind, when I look at horseradish and I look at mustard and wasabi and so on, I mean, the health benefits are there to being able to have those kinds of condiments, I'm going to call them that, that really stimulate the blood flow versus the mayonnaises and the other sauces that clog up your arteries.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys, I'm sure you don't think of yourselves as a health food, but I do. I can't remember the last time I had a sandwich that didn't have mustard or horseradish on it.
Well, right, and we're an add-on, and we're kind of an affordable luxury, and we're also an affordable flavor additive to everything. So have a great piece of protein or have great vegetables or whatever it is, your basic ingredients, but adding a condiment is simple, nutritionally insignificant, and adds a lot of flavor.
And I also love your packaging. It's easy to squeeze, it's the right shape, things like that.
And another great thing about coming to the show is you see such clever innovations in packaging, and it helps with the food safety and things like that.
You guys in this category are the innovators.
Well, thank you.
No question.
That's where we want to be, and I appreciate that.
Well, congratulations again. Have a great show. Glad you're here.
Thank you very much.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, Shannon Allen is going to be with us and tell us how she is going to change the way you eat out. We're back at SFA News Live. You know, the Disruptor panel this morning really was very interesting. Not only did we have Ethan Brown, who we're going to talk to in a little while with Beyond Meat, we talked to Pradip. You know, these are major disruptors, but I got the major disruptor with me right now. Shannon Allen is here. Shannon and I, you know, met first about 9 years ago. We were talking about doing a TV show together. She's a fabulous cook, chef. I shouldn't say cook.
Thank you.
And I found out, I guess about a year ago, that she started this new venture. I didn't know about it until it already opened. It's called Grown, and it's a new way of looking at casual, fast food, great food, that in my opinion, and it's all organic, and she's going to tell us all about it, but my opinion is game-changing. It's more than disruptive. What we've seen in the past is restaurants coming up with organic menus and organic offerings. McDonald's has tried organic. They've tried salad, but this is from the ground up. And this is really about Shannon feeding her family of 5 kids and a husband who needs lots of energy. Because Ray is what, like 6'7" or something?
He's 6'5".
6'5". Oh.
Yeah.
6'5". Oh, yeah.
He's not a slight man.
He's
Exactly
not.
right.
So he needs a lot of energy. So tell us about Grown. You know, what made you decide to go into the restaurant business and do it against, you know, huge odds? I mean, it's not easy to open up a new restaurant chain.
100% right. Well, first of all, thank you for having me, and thank you to all of your viewers for welcoming me. I'm loving being here. I feel
And it's your
so
first time at the
fancy.
yeah,
Yes.
First time at the fancy
I keep
food
telling
show.
everybody, "Oh, you fancy, huh?" Because here I am at the fancy food show. So thank you so much. And we are old friends, which is kind of amazing. I actually think that you and I may have invented Instacart before Instacart happened.
We were talking about it at the Casa del Mar Hotel. You were like 7 months pregnant.
Yes, with my son Win, who is now almost 9 years old.
Yeah, and we were talking about the whole delivery thing and so on. So I think, you know, I'm actually going to be with the CEO of Instacart tomorrow here in
Awesome.
San Francisco.
Okay.
I'm going to tell him he owes us a royalty.
Yeah, we want something.
Yeah, something here.
I love it. So about Grown. Grown is the reinvention of fast food. I mean, I think people are so afraid of the word fast food. There's such a stigma associated with the experience, with drive-through, with the dismal feeling that people have when they work in fast food. And I certainly never thought that this was going to be my life or my journey, or I'd be walking in this kind of purpose. And I definitely never wanted to be a restaurateur. I mean, I grew up a singer and an actress, and I worked at a ton of restaurants. And restaurants, as you know, are not easy. This is...
My first job was at McDonald's.
Okay.
No, my first job was at Shelley's Luncheonette in Newark. But after that, McDonald's. And I used to leave there, I mean, and I would stink.
Yeah, you smelled like grease.
Yeah, from the grease and the burgers and stuff like that.
And were you proud of people? Were you proud
No.
to tell people I work at
No,
McDonald's?
I used to have to wear those paper hats. At least
Right.
they don't have to do that anymore.
And you know, listen, McDonald's has real value. Burger King, Wendy's, Taco Bell, Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, you name it. They are providing a service to busy people. The challenge is, are they listening and responding to the needs and wants of busy people?
And we know that they're not because their sales are declining.
Right.
And we know they're not because what McDonald's has to do quarter to quarter is come up with new items on their dollar menu
Right.
that the franchisees are very upset with because they're losing money
Sure.
just to get people in the door.
Yeah, so this for me is not an assault on the fast food industry. What I really want to do is to inspire people to start thinking outside of that little cardboard box. And this is very personal. This comes from an organic place. As you mentioned, I have 5 children, and my husband Ray is arguably the greatest three-point shooter of all time. No offense to the Golden State Warriors. I know there's a lot of Steph Curry fans in here. God bless Steph Curry, and his
Well,
wife
Tony's
is a
one of them.
restaurateur. Tony? Basketball fan. Okay, you're just going to cap it at that. Basketball fan. But I, too, am a Steph Curry fan, and being here in Golden State is a big deal. But my husband, Ray, played all over the NBA for 18 years in a really illustrious career. He's a future Hall of Famer. And all of those years, I really learned that he needed real food to get him to his next athletic performance, that food was fuel. And as a singer and an actress in my own life, I really didn't know much about food. I was kind of the star in my family, so when I came home, everybody would take care of me. My dad grew an organic garden. My mom owned a real estate company in Middletown, Connecticut. But there was this real polarity, this duality in my life. On the one hand, I had all of these amazing home-cooked, homespun meals with organic produce, fruits, and veggies. And then on the other hand, it was, okay, when we're with mom running from appointment to appointment, open house to open house, she schleps through the McDonald's drive-thru, and, we get a treat, a McDonald's, a small fry and a small Coke. And in the 70s, I'm aging myself, that was a big win. To be able to pay all of your bills and take care of your family, and on the weekends, treat your kids to a Happy Meal.
Right.
I mean, check one off in the column for mom and dad. That's a gold star.
Yep. And then also,
yeah.
as being an actress and a singer, you're catching food on the fly. You've
Of
got,
course.
The food table in between shoots, which is loaded
Forget
with...
about it. The craft services,
Yeah.
exactly.
I mean,
And our
just
rider was like Coke, Buffalo wings, Buffalo
Yeah.
wings, French fries,
Yeah.
and lots of, blue cheese and Buffalo wings. So, that was kind of my world and that was my life. But at a very early age, when Ray and I fell in love 23 years ago, I realized that he needed real food if he was going to not have to have multiple surgeries, not have a bunch of inflammation, to be at his best every single day. So I went to the experts. First, I went to his mom, my mother-in-law, Flo Allen, right? Who better to teach you how to cook for the man you love than his mama.
Yeah.
And she was very generous with her recipes, and I learned all of the comfort foods. And then every season I would sit down with his nutritionist, dietitian, his trainers, and ask, what's his BMI? Does he need to lose any weight, gain any weight? And what is he really looking for? How can I keep this guy on the floor in the best physical condition? And then that was our life. And then in 2008, the unthinkable happened. We found ourselves in Los Angeles for the NBA Finals. It was Lakers, Celtics. Tony, you may remember this. Lakers fan, okay, well. And we're out there in LA where we have 35 people with us, our entire family, and our middle child, Walker, was ill. I mean, it became very apparent to me between a Monday and a Friday that something was wrong with Walker. He was excessively thirsty, frequent urination, he was lethargic, he was wetting the bed, and then he started vomiting. And I don't know if any of this sounds familiar to your viewers. It sounds like a touch of the flu maybe, or a little food poisoning, but what it ended up being was a diagnosis of type 1 diabetes. And that was the moment that the rug was pulled out from underneath us. And I really had to become an activist and an advocate for type 1. I sat on the International Board of Directors for the JDRF. Ray sat on the Board of Trustees for the Joslin Diabetes Center. And I immersed myself into this world of not just food that tastes good, but of nutrient-dense foods, and learning more about what food does in our system and how it metabolizes and what is real food. We've been brainwashed to believe that items like Cheetos, right, are food. Those are food substances. They're food stuffs. Fast food is not
manufactured food.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And real food is not made or manufactured, it's grown. And Michael Pollan has a great quote: eat real food, not too much, and mostly plants. That's it, guys.
Yep.
There's no magic bullet. That's it.
So when we go to Grown Together,
Yes.
what am I going to see on the menu?
Well, real food. Our slogan is real food cooked
Right.
slow for fast people. So
Right.
in the morning, you could get a freshly made paleo omelet, or gluten-free blueberry pancakes, an acai bowl, fresh pressed juices, organic frozen smoothies, home fries, organic thick cut Applegate bacon. I mean, it's all the same stuff that you would make in your own kitchen if you and Lauren had time to prepare food with the best possible organic certified ingredients. We are an organic certified facility, something that everyone told us we were crazy and would never happen.
Right.
Restaurants aren't organic certified. There's only 7 organic certified restaurants in the nation.
Real, I did
We're
not
number
know that.
7, and we're the first USDA organic certified fast food restaurant with a drive-through. We're very proud of that. So for lunch, what we call all day, lunch, dinner, you could do a salad, a sandwich, or a wrap. Everything starts plant-based. You have to pay to add animal protein. We have grilled salmon. We have organic wild-caught shrimp. We have organic free-range rotisserie chicken, chicken salad, wild-caught tuna. We have ahi tuna. We used to have organic grass-fed brisket, but I eliminated red meat for various and sundry reasons. And you could do something called the personal portion. And that's kind of like Boston Market, not on steroids. One of my mentors is George Nadaf, the founder of Boston Market.
Sure.
George, I love you. So you could do like a whole piece of organic free-range rotisserie chicken with sweet potatoes or Brussels sprouts, broccoli, green beans, quinoa tabbouleh. I mean, it's dinner.
And, while it sounds to a lot of people that this is for a small percentage of the population, I mean, you've got one in a Walmart.
Yes, sir.
So what you're doing, and this is where the disruption comes in, is you're saying for all customers, Walmart customers, you can be healthy too in an affordable way, in a tasty way. So you're not looking to get that, very high level 1% of the population,
Yeah.
Who already knows about organic to come to you. You want to change behaviors for the mass market.
Yes, and I think, when people first say to me, why do you want to be in a Walmart? I said, you know who shops at a Walmart? People.
Everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah.
They see 260 million guests a week. They have
Right.
11,000 stores. And the truth is, if you go into inner cities and you go into communities where the mean income is not the top 1% of the nation, in places in Miami like Liberty City and Opelika and Hialeah, there are no Whole Foods, Publix, Winn-Dixie's. There are Walmarts.
Right.
And I say to that, if Walmart says that organic matters, and by the way, they're the number 2 seller of organics on the planet, shortly
Yes.
behind Costco.
And they also have great relationship with farmers. I've told people in Bentonville for years, you need to tell people what you do to help farmers, to help agriculture, and they're just this low company that really keeps on getting bad publicity after
Sure.
bad publicity.
Hammered.
And they don't deserve it because they're
Right.
doing a lot of great things.
And they're a family-owned business. This is the
Yep.
other thing. This was started by Sam Walton and his wife, and their whole goal, and I mean, I'm not a Walmart spokesperson, but I really believe so strongly that if I'm out here jumping up and down saying organic matters, and I can do that all day long. I'm a tiny little mom and pop organic shop in South Miami. We have 6 locations in 17 months. That's a big deal.
That's a
But
very
when
big deal.
Walmart, a behemoth, one of the
Yep.
largest companies in the world, says organic matters, that's not a
Yep.
ripple. That's not a wave. That's
That's
a tsunami. And we had a tsunami warning here today in San Fran. So everybody in San Fran knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's a big deal, Phil. And it matters to me. I grew up in a family that was mostly single black women. My aunts are incredible. They each own small businesses. They paid for all their kids to go to college. They never had anyone to help them with anything. Buying groceries for a week was Walmart.
Yep.
And it's really important for me to go back to my roots and to make people understand that this is just not for certain people in a certain mean income and a certain zip code. This has to be for everyone because everyone wants to do better. Everyone wants to provide their kids with nutrient-dense foods. And unfortunately, this is an access point. If you look at the disparity between the haves and the have-nots in the world, there's 3 data points that really affect kids that don't have. It's access to technology, it's access to exercise, and it's access to real food.
Absolutely.
And I feel like we can do better.
And also, as you know, I've been on Michelle Obama's committee
Move.org.
Yes.
Yes.
And working with her and everything that she tried to do, and she named those same 3 things, was phenomenal. And certainly now, without getting political, the current USDA, the current administration does not have that same feeling about exercise and about good food and so on. So we need people like you and Walmart to do exactly that. So thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks for being a disruptor.
Thank
We
you.
need more and more.
Yes, warrior moms and dads, warrior
Exactly.
people unite.
Exactly.
Thank you, Phil.
So stay tuned. We're going to be right back with yet another disruptor who we heard from this morning. And you're going to be shocked to know his backstory and why he's creating a new meatless burger. This is SFA News, and we'll be right back. today is all about food disruption, and I'm not talking about just today, but today in the food world. You're not supposed to move that mic, Ethan. Ethan is a food
Breaking the
disruptor.
rules.
Not only is he a food disruptor,
I'm a mic
he's a
disruptor.
microphone
I'm
disruptor.
disrupting the mic.
So we heard Ethan this morning. I met Ethan a couple months ago.
Yep.
Beyond Meat is his company, is his vision, and what I love is, and correct me if I'm wrong when I get this story, when I tell the story, but Ethan's grandfather had a dairy farm, or at least had cows on the property.
Well, I'll explain. So my dad is a professor,
Right.
and
Of environmental studies.
yes, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And,
Okay.
and so we grew up in the city, but growing up, he hated the city because he grew up in the countryside, and so every chance he got, he'd take us out to this farm we have in the western part of the state of Maryland. And it was supposed to be a place just to go to recreate and be, with nature and everything. But he's kind of entrepreneurial himself, and so he started a dairy farm out there. And so we had about 100 head of Holstein cattle. And so my weekends in summertime, I spent a lot of time around.
So it was your
animals.
dad, not your
My dad,
grandfather.
yeah. My grandfather also had some experience there too, but it was more so that experience with my dad. Yeah.
So it's real interesting growing up with cows,
Yeah.
and growing up with a dad. And isn't your mom a professor of environmental studies too?
So my dad's actually a philosopher who was taught early in his career at a place called St. John's, where you have to teach knowledge as it emerges through human history. So he got very into ecology and biology and all these other things, and so he's now at McGill University in Montreal. But my mother was an editor growing up, so I got it from both sides.
Yeah, so having that environmental knowledge growing up, having the cow experience, it makes you create this new company, this disruptive company called Beyond Meat. I've tasted it. I've been to the facility. I've seen what you're doing. It's fabulous.
Thank you.
You're now, I heard this morning, in 25,000 stores.
We are, yeah.
Which is fabulous.
It's a wonderful experience.
Yeah, and certainly the buzzword that I'm hearing here as we walk up and down the aisles is plant-based everything is where it's at. I've heard the words Beyond Meat a lot
thank you.
From a lot of people. But what I really want to talk about, because you talked a lot about the company, I've written about the company, I'm going to write more about the company in an upcoming book that I've got. But this is your first time ever at the Fancy Food Show.
It is, yeah.
So what I would love to hear from you is your experience at the Fancy Food Show. I've been coming here since I'm a teenager with my dad, who was in the food business.
Great.
So my lens is slightly different than your lens. So I want to look through your lens as you walked up and down the aisles. What did you see? What are the trends? What do you think of the Fancy Food Show?
Great. Well, so first of all, we've gotten an invitation over the years, and I just really enjoyed meeting you when you were at our facility, and you'd asked me to come up, and just because of my relationship with you and the great time we had together, I said, oh, let's do it. And so I didn't know what to expect, but I get a lot of energy from being around the other entrepreneurs. And the panel I was on today, just love the vision they have, and the notion that, if there's a personal issue that you have that you're trying to solve for your family, that you can go out and create a business around that. And so many of the businesses here speak to that truth. It's really invigorating to be around it. So I'm enjoying the show. I just love seeing all the different products. And I do agree with you that we've moved from a push environment with respect to plant-based meat to one where it's now pulling. People are pulling us toward them. There's a latent desire for what we're doing and demand for what we're doing. As we get closer and closer to building a piece of meat that has no differences from its animal protein equivalent, we welcome in literally hundreds of thousands of new consumers with every incremental change and step we make forward to making this product as good as it can be.
And it's in restaurants now, it's in supermarkets now.
Yeah.
You're developing, you had me taste some new products that are not yet on the market, so I can't talk about them.
Yeah.
But, one of Phil Kafrakis and I were talking this morning right before the Disruptor panel. And he shared with me a hashtag that we want to get out there. It's hashtag Food Innovation Nation, because we're really, at a movement. And again, I've been coming to this show, for a long time, and the community spirit, the entrepreneurship, the energy that you just talk about is higher than ever before.
It is.
And it's fabulous because people like you, people like Shannon, Pradeep, you're changing the food world. It's a new generation. It's not someone, who's in their basement, came up with another ketchup.
Right.
Nothing against ketchup.
Sure.
Puts a label on it and goes out there to sell it. You guys are game changers.
Well, we're trying, and I appreciate being even part of that discussion. And I think it's, what's happening for us is we're realizing that people are now thinking about food in much broader terms than before. When they think about what they're going to eat, they're thinking about climate, they're thinking about their own health, they're thinking about the natural resource use that goes into it, and they're thinking about the transparency of the companies producing it. And so we're benefiting from all those trends because we have good answers in all of those areas.
You do.
And so when you begin with that end in mind, and strive to make a product that people are going to love, and then just see them like it and buy it, it's an amazing experience. And so we feel, all of us at the company, very blessed to be part of it. And we're growing because we don't settle. We're not saying that our product we have today is indistinguishable from meat. It's not. There are differences, but we're trying to collapse those differences as quickly as we can. And as you saw from when you visited with us, and by the way, that research lab has been built out now. The walls are up, and equipment will be going in soon. But we have this thing called the Manhattan Beach Project, which I'm very proud of, and that's really an effort to try to get the brightest scientists in the world in their fields, bring them into our company, and then give them a single goal, which is to build meat directly from plants, and to do that so it's indistinguishable. And it's not going to happen overnight, but every year we get better. And I think the Beyond Burger speaks to that ethos that we're going to put something out in the market, and then immediately we're going to try to make it obsolete because we're going to make something better. But we do that within a certain set of guardrails. We're not going to use genetic modification. We're not going to use artificial ingredients. We're going to use things to the extent that we can that mom and dad are super familiar with, right? And that's really important because our audience is those families. It's those 4 or 5 folks around the table that want to have more burger occasions, not less, and we are trying to enable them to do that. I've spoken about this before. My kids eat our products quite a bit. My son particularly, and he has probably 4 or 5 burgers a week, right? And he would never be able to do that with 80/20 because we'd be worried about the cholesterol or saturated fat levels,
of course,
and all other issues. So he's having more burger occasions, and eating more of what he loves rather than less. And that's really the way to think about our business. Just like the cell phone is a better version of the landline, how can we position our business in the public psyche so they're feeling they're getting something better, they're not sacrificing?
And your son is a great example. Burgers are fun.
They're awesome.
They're fun to eat.
Yeah.
But every time I have a traditional burger, you're worried about all the things that you said. So you're not going to have 4 or 5 of them a week. Yeah. I'm lucky on a traditional side if I have 1 burger every other week. But to that point, we can give kids and adults fun food that's healthy for them. Yeah. The one thing that I want to end with, and this is really a compliment to you, because I visit a lot of food companies, I've tasted a lot of stuff. You are one of the few people, after I tasted your burger, that said to me, okay, tell me the truth. What could I do better with it? What's off with it? Yeah. Whatever. Yeah. And that curiosity that you've got about your product is certainly what's leading the sea change for Beyond Burger, for the entire burger revolution that's taking place. So congratulations.
Thank you.
No, great success.
It's a labor of love, and thanks for having me here. It's awesome.
No, of course, and thank you for being a disruptor.
Let's do it.
Keep it going.
Thank you.
So we're done with SFA News Live. Now the show's still going on for another 4 hours or so.
I'm going to go eat.
But you're going to go eat. What are you going to eat?
I'm just going to graze. I'm going to go and just get it all.
Okay, so a couple aisles down, there's a pizza oven.
Right.
It's rounded. I've never seen one before.
Okay.
They are making fabulous pizza.
All right.
So
cool.
make sure you head there.
Yeah, I got my CFO and COO here. I'm gonna bring them,
Okay. So everybody get a piece of pizza on me.
All right. Thank you.
And thanks so much for coming to the Fancy Food Show and being part of the panel. So we're done for the day. Don't forget, we're on Facebook Live. You can revisit all these interviews also on YouTube and also on SFA's webpage. Now that's going to take about a week or so, but this Fancy Food Show is fabulous. Again, hashtag Food Innovation Nation to see where the food industry is going. Not just gourmet foods, not just specialty foods. This is exciting foods. This is the foods of the future because of guys like this, Ethan Brown. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you on YouTube.